in public education is funded, whether it's out of the local taxes or state taxes, federal, the vast majority, of course, coming out of the local city or county taxes, which is almost always the majority of their budget.
It is.
And it comes out of the pocket of property owners,
Yep.
and by the way of taxes. And yet that is the only system that is funded, so to speak, by force.
Yes.
uh, and it's a monopoly where basically 9 out of 10 kids in this country go to public school
Right.
because it is funded by mandate and by taxes,
Yes.
and taxes to everybody, whether you choose that or not. And so, I guess, that kind of leads us down a whole nother road as far as government involvement and, how much, we were just talking about competition and how competition, is a healthy thing. And
Yes.
really in government, I mean, there are, systems in place so that government it limits monopoly, unless it is government run. And and I think our public school system is a class A example of that.
Yeah.
Um, Many people feel that breaking up that monopoly would serve the whole society and actually give us better results. Let's talk about that just for a little bit.
Again, I think you're right. I think competition is great. It works, and in any other industry, and I've experience in business in a lot of different areas, and I can tell you that, as you know, that every other industry, competition creates the best. Either you're the best or you're gone, and so I think that would be important. I don't think this great huge influx. All right, let's defund the educational system. We have students that are in the balance here, just like a divorce. Divorce can have, divorce is going to happen, and a child is going to suffer either way.
Yep.
But there are ways that I've seen ways that it's done that children are, they can get through it. So I think the same approach we have to do with education. We have millions of children that are in the halls of public school, enrolled in public school. We can't just defund the educational system and start something new
Right.
without casualties, collateral damage, and that's our greatest resource, our kids. But I think there are already mechanisms in place to accommodate that competition. I just think it has to come down to the choice and the money. Are we going to allow the 14,000 or so dollars per student per year to go somewhere else if a parent decides to educate their child somewhere else? And we know that when you look at homeschooling, and I have actually, my wife and I did homeschool our children for a while, for years, before we brought them into private school and then into public school. We know that there has to be something in place, some sort of standard, because there are unfortunately a lot of homeschool parents that are not qualified to teach their kids. But for the most part, when you look at the statistics and you compare homeschool graduates and private school graduates to public school graduates, they're doing great. And I think homeschool has come a long way. For socially was the biggest restriction. You
Yeah.
have a lot of homeschool kids that just didn't have the social skills and the soft skills that you got from relationships formed in public schools.
Right.
But even that's come a long way with organizations. But yes, I think competition would be very healthy. And I think it is absolutely about time that some legislation is passed that allows parents to say, all right, do I want to pay for public school, private school, or do I want to homeschool? And right now, we just do not have that choice. And that just does not sound like a free society to me.
Yeah, well, that's a very significant statement, I think, that you just made. I think a lot of parents would agree with you there.